everyone. Welcome back to 31 Days of Yoga for Mental Health. Today is day 26, depth. I'm Daria, and in today's practice, we'll be moving through the same sequence 3 times, and each time building on the next. So exploring more depth, more layers, more unfolding, and ultimately creating more space in the body and the mind. Today, if you have yoga blocks available, go ahead and grab them. If not, grab a stack of books or anything you can use to elevate your fingertips up and away from the mat, something this shape and size. And when you're ready, let's begin. We'll begin today in Child's Pose. So go ahead and grab your blocks or whatever you have, whatever prop you'll be using, and set the blocks up so that they're under your palms. And then bring your toes to touch, spread your knees wide, and crawl it out. So blocks are just under palms to get a little more of a stretch in the shoulders and the upper back. You can relax your forehead all the way down to your mat and begin to bring more depth to your breath, moving away from shallow breathing only into the chest, but expanding to breathe into the full exposed back line of your body here. So as you inhale, fill up your low belly and your low back, and then carry the breath up your spine into the middle back, the space between your shoulder blades, all the way up into the crown of your head and your fingertips. Exhale and breathe back down along that same line. You can take open mouth exhalations or any sort of clearing breath to allow yourself to arrive and to settle a bit more. And when you're ready, start to fade in Ujjayi breath. And at first, maybe it's just like really soft waves lapping on the shore of the beach. And as we continue to move and to settle more, find more depth with the waves of your breath. So they rise and they fall. There's a swell and a drop, a release. Take a moment right here to get more connected to your body, to notice what's going on, and explore with curiosity any signals coming from body or mind. Allow your heels and your hips to melt a little closer to each other on your exhale. And allow everything to begin to soften and go more inside of yourself. Slowly begin to crawl your way up to sit on your knees. You can just let the blocks stay right where they are for now and draw your knees together to touch. And now wrap your right elbow under your left and cross your arms so that you can grab for your shoulders. And then crawl your fingertips as far back as they'll go without introducing force. So only going to the spot where you feel that interesting sensation. And then begin to curl inward towards yourself. So draw your belly button to your spine, drop your chin to your chest, and see if you can bring your elbows down a little closer to your legs. And breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. And then slowly rise your way back up. Undo the cross of your arms and take your elbows out super, super wide. Let your palms face out. Spread your hands wide like jazz hands. Fingers spread away from each other. And just grow the back of your heart more forward by drawing your shoulder blades, the tips of your shoulder blades together to touch. And then spin your thumbs down so that the tops of your hands come forward and your pinkies face up to the sky. And we'll just swivel the palms back and forth like this a few more times. So flip your thumbs back up so the pinkies come down, the palms of your hands face forward, and then take it back the other way. Thumbs spin down, pinkies face up. Inhale as you lift your thumbs back up toward the sky, and exhale one more time, spin the thumbs downward. Good. And now cross your left elbow under your right, grab for opposite shoulders, give yourself a big hug, and crawl your fingertips more to the back or the middle of your back. Inhale, and then exhale, round inward towards yourself, like you're just curling up into a nice little ball, drawing elbows and knees closer together. Drop your chin, breathe along the back of your neck, and let your head be heavy. Inhale, rise it all the way up. And again, same thing. Extend and spread super wide, broaden through your chest. Turn your thumbs to face up and then rotate them down towards your mat. Inhale, thumbs rise, shoulder blades pull together behind you. Exhale, thumbs come down, pinkies spin up. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And now step your knees a little further apart so they're about hips distance. Bring your right elbow to thread under your left and start to sit a little forward so that the hips come over the knees. Drop the tops of your hands down to your mat and just crawl your fingertips nice and easy out to the sides until you feel a stretch in the front of your shoulders. You can drop your chin or your forehead down to your mat and breathe. Let your low belly soften. Let your face soften, and imagine that you could just melt right into your mat. Good. Slowly undo the wind of your arms. You can ground your fingertips down and just rock your hips a little side to side, or take a couple rounds of cat-cows if that feels good, pressing away from your mat to dome through your shoulders. And then we'll go the other way. So the left arm will thread under the right. Drop tops of hands down and then crawl the fingertips all the way out. And maybe you bring your chin or your forehead down to your mat or not. Stay with where you feel the sensation and deepen your breath to find more release, more depth into the posture. Good. And then slowly come back out of it. You can sink your hips back down towards your heels and then just undo the cross of your hands. Go ahead and release the blocks off of your mat so they're still at the top but just out to the side, out of your way. Ground your palms down, tuck your toes, and slowly transition all the way back to downward facing dog. Imagine that your inner thighs are being pulled backward as you go. Feel into all the space that you just created in the shoulders and press out of them by pressing more into all 10 fingers and the L shape between your thumb and your index finger. See if you can ground the knuckle of your second finger and maybe pedal out your feet to get more space in the whole back line of your body. Check in with the ribs. Notice if they're flaring and see if you can draw them together and down even as you send your heart back toward your thighs. Step your left toes a little more to the midline of your mat and inhale to reach your right leg high. Open at your hip, bend your knee, and take a couple of circles right here to lubricate the hip joint, get some movement there. Even as the right hip opens, try to keep your right armpit facing down to your mat so shoulders are square even though the hips are open. Good, and then pause the rotation. Keep with the open hip and the bent knee. Inhale. Exhale, draw your right knee across the midline of your body to connect with your left tricep. Inhale, kick high, sweep the leg up and open the hip. Exhale, same thing, right arm or right knee crosses toward left tricep. One more like that. Inhale, kick high, open at the hip and the knee, and exhale, right knee to left tricep. This time, send your right leg all the way out to extend so the knife edge, the outer edge of the right foot can come down to your mat. And slowly from here, just begin to crawl your feet away from each other. So left toes crawl more back and right toes crawl out all the way until you can lower down to your right hip. And try to keep your shoulders square and your hips square. So imagine that your left inner thigh is spinning up to face the ceiling. And you might already feel a lot of sensation right here. If you want to go a little bit further, you can start to slowly crawl your elbows maybe down to your mat, bring palms to touch. And this one is a little interesting, a little bit of an interesting shape. So you can play with the positioning of your hips, rocking more forward or more back. Play with if the left knee is more straight or more bent, and just see what feels the best to you. Really targeting the outer right hip. And with your breath, begin to explore the sensation. Press your palms back down into your mat and crawl your way back to the midline. Ground your palms down nice and firmly, really plug them into the earth. Tuck your left toes behind you and pick your hips back up, pressing into the knife edge of your right foot. And then just draw your right knee into your chest and inhale to kick right leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, low lunge, step your right foot toward your right thumb, right down in between your hands. Ground down onto the heel of your left foot and spin your left toes out at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale to rise for warrior one. Pull your inner thighs together and send both of your hip points forward to the front of your mat. Exhale, pull your thighs together to begin to draw your right leg a little more to straight, and then glide all the way forward until your fingertips can come down either to blocks or to your mat for pyramid pose. Take an inhale to grow your spine from the core of your pelvis out through the crown of your head. Exhale, melt your heart more forward, send your right outer hip back. Inhale, find more length in the spine. Exhale, press down and forward through the big toe mound of your right foot. One more, grow. And then exhale, melt, and stay for a few rounds of breath. If you know that you have a tendency to hyperextend in the right knee, try to keep that activation nice and firmly down and forward through the right foot. Square the hips by sending your right hip back and your left hip forward, and melt your heart down. Always, always, always take blocks at any level to assist in the fold, and it's always okay to keep a little bend in the right knee too. One more breath right here. Good. Come up onto the ball of your left toes, swivel them to face the top of your mat, and just glide it back to a low lunge. And then step your fingertips out wider and a little forward in front of the right foot. Roll onto the knife edge, the outer edge of your right foot. Inhale here. Imagine that there's a bunch of balloons floating under your left thigh to elevate it, and send the back of your heart more forward, really grow. And then exhale, glide your left heel back and melt it a little down. Inhale, reach forward. Send your left heel forward over the ball of your foot, and exhale, left heel glides back, lizard, little pulses into the outer hip. Inhale, shift it forward and grow your heart. Exhale, glide it back. Good. And now sweetly, gently lower down to your left knee. Stay rolled out onto the knife edge, the outer edge of the right foot, and step your left hand out super wide off of your mat. Kick your left heel into your butt. Reach around with your right arm to grab for the top of your left foot. If this is not accessible, no problem. You can stay with the left top of the foot down and just reach and get a nice twist. If it's also feeling a little intense, a little too much to stay on the knife edge, the outer edge of the right foot, you can always just roll back or step the toes out a little more wide, whatever feels good for you. As you inhale, open your heart up toward the ceiling, and as you exhale, relax the front of your left thigh to melt your heel in a little closer. One more breath right here. Good. Unwind, release your right hand all the way down to your mat, and bring your hips a little bit back in space just so that you can step your right knee down to your mat. Keep the knees about hips distance apart and keep the toes tucked behind you. Swivel your arms around in front of you and then reach with the right fingertips to grab for your right heel and come up to a little half camel, drawing your whole belly in and up. The core is connected as left fingertips reach up high. And this might just be really subtle for the first one. And then as you exhale, swivel it around forward and take it the other way. So the left hand comes down and the right hand lifts up nice and tall. Really grow your whole heart. Exhale, swivel it around. Again, right hand comes down, left hand lifts, send your hips forward. And exhale, arms come down and around. Left hand grounds to your heel and reach up from the very back of your heart all the way through fingertips. Good, roll it all the way back around. Plant your palms down and step your right foot down between your hands, coming back into a low lunge, a kneeling lunge, so the left knee is down. Inhale, See if you can melt your hips more down and forward and reach your fingertips away from the mat, or maybe they're connected to blocks if that helps you to feel more supported. Exhale, glide the hips back, ground your fingertips, traction them back towards your hips, and flex your right toes for Arta Hanumanasana half splits. Inhale, shift it forward, bend into the right knee, open the heart, maybe the fingertips hover. Exhale, glide it back and melt your heart forward. One more like that. Inhale, shift it forward, open the heart. Exhale, glide it all the way back, half splits. And we'll stay just for 2 rounds of breath right here. As you inhale, really grow from the core of your pelvis through the roof of your mouth. And as you exhale, melt your heart more forward and down. Maybe palms are on blocks. And maybe the right knee is micro bent or a little more bent. That's totally fine. Good. Bend back into your right knee, tuck your left toes behind you and pick up your knee, and then shift your hips back. Stay up high onto the ball of your left foot. Press your palms into your mat to dome through your shoulders and see if you can pick up your right foot to hover, and then glide your way back to downward facing dog. If that transition is like, no way, always okay just to bend at the knee and step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your left leg high, open at the hip, bend the knee, and take some nice and gentle circles here. Wake up the left side of your body. And come back to your really deep breath. Remember to breathe. Just remind your brain. More depth in the breath means more depth in the body. As you inhale, stay with a bent knee, open your hip a little more, and then as you exhale, take left knee to cross the midline of your body to connect with right tricep. Inhale, sweep the leg up high and open your hip. Exhale, glide it through, left knee to right tricep. One more like that. Inhale, kick high, open your hip, and exhale, glide it through. And this time, step your left foot all the way out wide so the knife edge comes down. And then begin that crawl of your feet away from each other as you slowly lower down to the outer left hip. And right away, it might feel a little different on this side than the first. Try to stay with the square hips with the right hip bone pointing down rather than out. So it's not opened up to the side, but facing forward. And you can also think of the right inner thigh spiraling up toward the ceiling. And then maybe you come down to elbows and play with where you feel the sensation that's most interesting to you. Not forcing it and not going to a place where it's painful, but just breathing into more opening in the outer left hip. And slowly begin to make your way back up to palms if you came down to elbows. Tuck right toes behind you, press into your palms to pick up your hips, and then glide your right or your left knee into your chest and exhale all the way back. Inhale, kick your left heel high. Exhale, low lunge. Step your left foot to your left palm. Come to warrior one leg so the right toes spin a little out. And inhale, rise it all the way up to stand. Really grow down through your feet and up through your fingertips. And then exhale, squeeze your inner thighs together and cascade your heart forward all the way down as fingertips flicker to either blocks or to your mat for pyramid pose. You can adjust the width of your stance, however you need to set up to feel the most comfortable. As you inhale, lengthen the spine, find more grow. As you exhale, melt forward. Again, inhale, rise. Exhale and melt. Drive your left hip back. Inhale. Exhale, press down and forward through the big toe mound of your left foot all the time while keeping the squeeze of your inner thighs together. Take big, long breaths along the back line of the left leg into the hamstring. And we stay here. Let the back of your neck relax. Let your head be heavy. Good, come up onto the ball of your right foot, swivel the toes to face the top of your mat and bend into the left knee to glide it back for a low lunge. And then roll onto the knife edge of the left foot, step the left foot a little more to the midline of your mat and send fingertips out in front of you and wider. Inhale to shift everything more forward. So come up high onto the balls of your feet, right thigh elevates up away from the mat a little more and your heart grows forward. And then exhale, slide it back. Inhale, squeeze left foot toward right foot, lift, exhale, and melt. One more, just like that. Inhale, intend your fingertips back toward the midline of your body as you rise. And as you exhale, press the fingertips down and forward and shift the hips back. Good. Lower down nice and easily to the right knee. Step right hand out to the wide edge of your mat, maybe to a block if that helps. And then kick your right heel in and reach around with left fingertips all the way to grab for the top of right foot, or maybe just stay with this twist with the top of right foot grounded. That is also a great option. Keep a lightness, a buoyancy in the right elbow and elevate your heart as you inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can soften the right quad so that you can kick your right heel in a little more, have more space for the kick. One more breath here. Good. And then reach all the way around with your left hand, drop the top of your right foot down, and come back to stand on your knees. So the left knee comes down and the feet are about hips distance apart. Tuck the toes behind you, and this time we'll begin with the left hand dropping back toward left heel, and inhale, reach up with the right fingertips. Really grow from your pubic bone up to your fingertips, and then glide it around forward on an exhale. Inhale. Lift the heart, open the chest. Exhale, send it forward. Stay with the amount of depth where you are. So not diving in too deeply all at once, but staying with it. Exhale, come around. Right hand comes down, left fingertips sweep up. Good. And then reground your palms down, step your left foot between them. So coming into that kneeling lunge. Inhale, really grow your heart and melt your hips down. Exhale, glide the hips back, flex left toes up towards your face for half splits. Inhale, shift it forward, open. Exhale, glide it back. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And stay with the half splits, bringing blocks maybe under your hands. Keep a micro bend in the left knee. Send your outer left hip back. Grow your heart. And then exhale to melt. Really breathe right into the core of the sensation that you're feeling. Good. And then bend back into the left knee. Plant your palms down, tuck right toes behind you, lift your hips up high and come up really high onto the ball of your right foot. And then press down into your palms so much that you dome through the shoulders and maybe the left foot can hover and glide all the way back to downward facing dog. Nice. We're moving into the next round, so there will be a few little changes, so just stay listening and stay exploring your body, stay exploring the new depth, the new space. Inhale to reach your right leg high, open at the hip, bend the knee. Exhale, draw right knee toward left tricep and hold and squeeze. Inhale, kick high, open the hip, bend the knee. Exhale, right knee to left tricep, squeeze. Inhale, kick. Exhale, cross the body, squeeze, and then drop down to the knife edge of the right foot. And this time, lower to the left heel. So roll the left toes out to face the long edge of your mat and come down to the heel. And then slowly begin to open it up for fallen triangle. Press into both feet and the right hand to reach left hand all the way up and maybe forward. Create more space between all your ribs on the left side and press more away from the mat than you think you even can. Good. And then reground your left palm. Bring your right knee into your chest. Inhale, kick it high, three-legged dog. Exhale, low lunge. Step the right foot all the way down and through. Inhale to rise for warrior one. Realign your stance, readjust your feet. Exhale, dive it down for pyramid. Squeeze your inner thighs together and charge down and forward through the big toe of your right foot all the way down. Inhale, grow your spine. Exhale, bow inward. Inhale, extend. Exhale, fold. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And then stay for 2 breaths in the fold. Notice if you feel like you can go in a little deeper, like any layers of tension have dissolved and that there's a bit more space for you to explore, a little bit of newness on this side. Good, come up onto the ball of your left foot, glide the left heel back, and then roll onto the knife edge of your right foot as you step your fingertips out and forward. Inhale, grow. Exhale, glide it back and melt. Maybe you bend the elbows this time. Inhale, reach forward with the heart, heel comes forward. Exhale, heel melts back, and maybe your heart melts towards your right foot. One more like that. Inhale, reach it long. Exhale, all the way back. Good. And then lower down to your right knee, your left knee. Step your left hand out wide and reach around to grab for the top of your left foot. And if the last time you just stayed with a twist, maybe this time see if you can connect. And maybe not, and that's okay. Stay with the breath and stay with where you are. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, sink your heel in closer toward your butt. And slowly unravel, unwind. Step your right hand down and shift your hips back so that you can bring your right knee down next to your left, hips distance apart, and then come up to standing on your knees. And this time, maybe you keep the toes untucked, so the tops of the feet grounded. And reach around with the right hand to grab for right heel, so it's a little further back, and you arc the hips forward. Open the heart a little bit more, going in a little more deeply. And then as you exhale, swivel it around. Maybe you reach even more forward. Grab for the back of the left heel and rise up. If this feels like a little too much depth, always come back to tucking the toes and grabbing for the heel. That might be a bit more accessible. Inhale, grow. One more, swivel around to the front. Exhale. Inhale, left hand to left heel. Reach up nice and tall. All the way down. Good. And now step your right foot back down between your hands for kneeling lunge. Inhale, see if you can glide your fingertips up and away from the mat and melt your hips forward. Exhale, slide it back, half splits. Inhale, come forward, open your heart. Exhale, melt it back. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale, glide it back. And now stay right here. And see if you can press your palms down into either the mat or maybe blocks under hands. Press into your palms so much that maybe you can hover your right heel up and away from your mat. And then lower it down. And then press down again into palms and squeeze and lift and lower it down. Draw your belly in and up. One more press into the palms. It's like your right leg is growing from your hip socket out through your heel, and then lower it down nice and fold and melt forward into half splits. Again, maybe exploring a bit more depth. If you're on blocks, maybe try playing with the next level, but only as you're ready, only because you've unfolded all of the things that come before where you are now. Good. Come back up onto your palms, bend into your right knee, tuck your left toes behind you, plant your palms, pick up your hips, press into the earth, and maybe this time you come up to fingertips and see if you can press down just through fingertips to pick up your right foot, and this might actually give you a little more space to glide back downward facing dog. You can reground the palms if you came up to fingertips. Inhale, reach your left leg high, open the hip. Exhale, left knee to right tricep and squeeze. Inhale, kick, open the hip. Exhale, cross the body and squeeze. One more. Inhale, kick high, open your hip. And exhale, come through. And now lower all the way down to the knife edge of your left foot. So it comes out to the side. Drop your right heel down and turn open to face the long edge of your mat. Press into left palm and both feet so the right arm can lift up high. Fingertips just float And maybe the right hand comes all the way forward, so it's like it's moving out in a line from the crown of your head. Press more to lift your hips up, and then reground your right hand. Tuck your left knee into your chest and squeeze. And then inhale, kick left heel high. Exhale, low lunge, step it through. Inhale, warrior one. Really squeeze your inner thighs together as you rise up. Realign your feet and your stance. Exhale, bow forward, pyramid pose. Pull left foot toward right foot all the way down. Inhale, grow the back of your heart forward, and exhale, bow inward as you send your left hip back. Inhale, reach. Exhale, melt. And one more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And stay for 2 rounds of deep breath, really even inhales and even exhales. Breathe all the way to the top of your lungs, fill up to capacity, and then exhale to let all of the air out, and see if that air can travel into the leg to find more release. And bend back into the left knee, slide your right toes long and back behind you for low lunge. Send fingertips out and wide and roll onto the knife edge of your left foot, stepping it more to the midline of your mat. Inhale, come forward, elevate the top of your right thigh away from your mat and grow your heart. And then exhale, melt it back and maybe bend at the elbows to draw your heart closer towards your left foot. Inhale, reach it front. Exhale, heel glides back and melt. As you inhale, traction your fingertips back toward the midline of your body. And as you exhale, press fingertips down and forward to sink. Good. And then lower down to your right knee. Step your right hand out to the wide edge of your mat. Stay on the knife edge of your left foot and reach around with left hand to grab for top of right foot. Inhale, create more space in the heart. Exhale, soften the right quad and sink your right heel in a bit closer. And slowly unwind, unravel. Step your left hand down, shift your hips back, and come to standing on both of your knees. And this time, the left hand comes down and back first toward left heel, and reach up with your right fingertips. And then as you exhale, send it around forward. Inhale, like you're moving through water, reach your left hand up high. Exhale, melt it back around. One more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, maybe play with just a little more depth as you grow. And exhale, all the way back down. Palms come down. Left foot steps through. Kneeling lunge. Inhale. Let your fingertips float away from your mat as your hips melt forward and your heart opens. Exhale, glide it back. Squeeze your feet toward each other. Left heel pulls toward right knee and bow. Inhale, melt it forward, grow your heart. And exhale, slide the hips back, half splits. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And now ground your palms. Take a big inhale through your nose. Exhale, press into your palms and see if you can float your left heel away from your mat. And then lower. Inhale. Exhale. Press, curl, draw your belly button to your spine. Inhale. One more. Exhale. Press and lift. Grow from hip point to toes on the left side, and then slowly lower it all the way down and bow inward for a couple of breaths, maybe going in a little more deeply than you did the last time, only if there's the space. This process of exploring more depth is really it's like taking a deep dive into the whole body and mind system. It's about finding more variety, all the little unexpected sensations and emotions and thoughts that arise, and staying with all of it, learning, digging in to all of it. Good. Press back into the left knee, bend the knee. Come up onto fingertips, tuck right toes behind you, pick up your hips, and see if you can pick up your left foot away from the mat to glide it back to downward facing dog. Big exhale, let the back of your head relax and come back down to the palms if you were up on fingertips. Okay, so it's the last time through and we'll play with just a little bit more depth, a few more little creative exploration pieces to go more deeply into the postures. Stay pressing really firmly into both palms and super slowly see if you can lower your right elbow all the way down to the mat. So the left elbow is still lifted, but the right elbow's down. And from here, inhale to reach your right leg high, open at the hip, and just feel into a bit more depth with the right elbow lowered. If this is a lot, if this is too much, always just stay with the palms grounded. Inhale. Exhale, reground right toes and press back up to both palms. Inhale, reach your right leg high, open the hip. Exhale, right knee to left tricep, hold and squeeze. Inhale, kick high, open the hip. Exhale, pull right knee in and across. One more, inhale, kick. Exhale, hold and squeeze. And now come down onto the left heel, and maybe without even lowering the right foot down to your mat, you can lift up for fallen triangle with an elevated right leg. If this is too much, not happening today, no problem at all. Just come down to the knife edge, fallen triangle, and pick your hips up away from your mat. Really expand the left side body, and then pull your right knee into your chest and squeeze. Inhale, kick high. Exhale, low lunge, step through. Inhale, warrior one, rise up nice and easy. Exhale, bow it forward for pyramid pose. Inhale, grow your heart. Exhale, melt forward. Inhale. Exhale. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And this time, maybe if you feel like you have the space and you want to explore a bit more depth, you can flex your right toes up and away from your mat. And maybe this will help you to feel a bit more sensation along the back line of your right leg. Remember just to stay with your body, with what you're experiencing, wherever you are on this journey, on this unraveling process. And it is a process. Bend into your right knee. Send your left toes long and back behind you. Reach fingertips more forward and roll onto the knife edge of your right foot for the lizard pulses. Inhale, pull your heart forward. Exhale, melt it back. Glide your heart towards your right foot. Inhale, reach it long forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come forward. Exhale and melt. This time, reground both of your palms down and just slide your way into half pigeon. So readjust the width, the stance, the angle of your right shin at the front of your mat, and then come up to sit nice and tall. Grow your heart, square your hips by spinning your left inner thigh up to face the ceiling. And then as you're ready, slowly you can begin to melt it forward. Find a place to relax your head if you fold forward. So maybe you can bring your palms to prayer and let your forehead rest on thumbs. You can slide a block under your head, or you can stack your fists or your hands. Let your breath be the deepest of your day so far, right here. And do a little check-in again with the body and the mind just to see what's going on and what's coming through, and what's being communicated. And then slowly crawl your fingertips back up to the midline. And you have a couple of options here. You can either press back onto the left knee, so crawl the left knee in a little bit, come back to that knife edge of right foot, and step your left hand out wide to grab and take the twist like this. If you'd like to go for a little more depth today, you can stay in the half pigeon, and you can kick your left heel in and maybe reach around to hook left toes with your left elbow. And maybe you stay here, or you can play with mermaid, reaching your right arm up, and then see if you can grab for right fingertips with left fingertips. Wherever you are, really deepen your breath, and we'll just stay for one more full round. Inhale. Exhale, melt something away. Unravel, unwind, and we'll all come to standing on knees, however you can get there as gracefully as possible. And this time, going for Camel Pose. So, option on this first side to keep the toes tucked. Take your hands to your low back like you're gonna slide them into pockets, or maybe if it feels better, you can turn your fingertips to face up. Totally choose your own adventure, whatever feels best. And then zip up the whole front line of your body. Draw your shoulder blades together to touch behind you. Open your heart, expand your heart toward the sky. Shift your hips more forward. And then slowly, maybe you travel back to grab for your heels with your hands, or just stay with a nice gentle back bend, elevating your heart, and take open mouth exhales. One more breath. Slowly make your way out, support your low back with your hands. Sink your hips back onto your heels and just sit down and breathe for one breath. You can bring your palms to face up on your thighs and maybe close your eyes. One big inhale. Exhale. Let something drop. Good. Reground your palms to your mat. Bring your right foot down in between your hands. And inhale to sink. Melt your hips more forward. Exhale, glide it back, half splits. Inhale, come forward, open the heart. Exhale, melt it back. Inhale, really, really open. Melt your right hamstring towards your right calf. And then glide it back, half splits. And from here, option to stay right here in the half splits, or you can play with sliding it all the way out into full splits. Keep your hips square, maybe keep your left toes tucked behind you for a little more activation. And imagine again that your left inner thigh is spiraling up to face the ceiling. With splits, there's many, many, many steps along the journey from half splits to full splits. So play with blocks under your palms. You can slide a block under your front leg for a little more support. And if you're all the way down, maybe you can float your fingertips up to connect over your head. One more breath wherever you are. Inhale. Exhale. Slide back into a low lunge, bending into your right knee. Plant your fingertips down, pick up your hips, press into your palms, and glide your right foot all the way back, downward facing dog. One more side, we're almost there. Press more into the right palm, but keep a press through the left palm, and see if you can bring your left elbow down to your mat. Inhale, and reach your left leg high, and then just open at the hip. If this is too much, always an option to stay up on both palms. And then slowly lower your left toes back down. Press into your left palm to lift the left elbow up and away from the mat. Inhale, kick your left leg high, open the hip. Exhale, left knee to right tricep, hold and squeeze. Inhale, kick it high. Exhale, pull it together. One more like that. Inhale, kick and open the hip. Exhale. Left knee to right tricep, roll onto your heel and the knife edge of your right foot, and then maybe just reach straight out with the left so it doesn't lower at all, or always an option to stay with fallen triangle. Wherever you are, press more into your mat. And really squeeze the left side of your body to expand the right side. Good. Reground your right palm, draw left knee into your chest. And inhale, kick your right leg high, or your left leg high, sorry. Exhale, low lunge all the way through. Left foot down. Inhale, rise high, warrior one. Exhale for pyramid. Glide forward. Inhale, really grow your spine. Exhale, bow it together. You can adjust the width of your stance, take little micro adjustments. Inhale, reach. Exhale, send your left hip back and fold. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale, fold, and maybe you play with flexing the left toes up towards your face this time, only if you feel like you've already created the space for more space. So listen to your body and don't force anything. Don't force the depth. That's like superficial depth, and we're looking for the organic depth that comes from the slow process, the slow unraveling. Bend back into the left knee, slide your right toes back behind you, roll onto the knife edge of your left foot, and set up for your lizard pulses. Inhale to come forward. Exhale, back and melt. Inhale, reach and grow. Exhale, lower. One more, inhale. Exhale. And then plant your palms, readjust your left shin for half pigeon. Maybe you stay up for a minute to puff up through your chest and square your hips. And then as you exhale, you melt it forward. Maybe coming down to elbows. Again, find a place to rest your head. Breathe into the back of your neck. Let your face be soft. Imagine when you encounter tension that it's just like cobwebs or dust in a dark corner that need to be cleared away, and your breath is the clearing. And so you can visualize the space being swept clean with the exhale. Good. Slowly press your way back up to your palms if you lowered forward, and maybe again, you come up to the left knee bent and your right hand would step out wide. Reach around with left hand to grab for top of right foot, or you can stay in pigeon and play maybe with moving into mermaid. If you're playing with this variation, the right heel kicks in towards your right glute and you reach around to hook maybe the right toes with the right elbow. And you can stay right here and breathe. Or maybe left fingertips go high and you grab, open your heart. And wherever you are, take one more full round of breath. Inhale. Exhale. And then slowly unwind everything. Press into your hands to make your way up to standing on your knees. And we'll take one more round of Camel Ustrasana. Draw your palms to your low back. This time, maybe stay with the tops of the feet down, or you can tuck the toes again, whatever feels best. Inhale to elongate the whole front line of your body. Draw your shoulder blades together, puff up your heart. And then exhale, slowly begin your journey back. And this could just be a simple lift of your heart and your eyes. That could be it for today, and that is plenty. Maybe you reach back to grab for your heels, send your hips forward, and grow up through your heart and your eyes. Open mouth exhales. Don't forget to breathe. And then slowly rise your way back out, using your core and your hands to support your low back. Sink your hips back down to your heels and take a breath with palms facing up on your thighs. You can stay for a few extra rounds of breath if you need. And then when you're ready, bring your left foot back forward between your palms. Inhale to rise fingertips to float away from your mat. Sink the hips. Exhale, glide your hips back. Flex left toes up towards your face. Inhale, reach it forward. Bend into the left knee. Exhale, slide it back. Left toes flex away from your mat. One more like that. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, glide it all the way back and stay with your half splits, or you can play with pressing into the mat to pick up your left heel, or maybe you glide all the way out into your full splits, or you take any of those little steps along the way. There's a million little places in between the half split and the full split. Square your hips. And just explore the sensations wherever you are. See if you can go more deeply in as we stay for one more breath. Good. And slowly make your way out. Bend back into the left knee, coming into a low lunge. Tuck your right toes behind you. Pick up your hips. Press into your palms and glide your left foot back, downward facing dog. Take a big full inhalation. Open mouth exhale, sigh. Let everything go. And then slowly lower down to your knees and turn to sit down on your butt. And we'll take a nice deep hip opener before we begin to melt into Shavasana. So the left leg will be your base, and then crawl your right foot over the top. So getting the knees maybe to stack or something close to stacking. They might look like this. It might be a little more crossed. Set it up so that you feel a nice outer hip stretch, and you can adjust your hips on your mat too. This is Gomukhasana, cow face pose. And from here, sit up nice and tall. If you feel a lot right here, stay with that. As the tension begins to melt and as more space opens up in your body, maybe you begin to fold forward. Take long brush strokes of breath through your whole body. Shine light on darker corners and spaces in your body and investigate. And we'll take 2 more breaths right here. See what else you can drop. See what else you can let go. And slowly rise all the way back to the midline. Uncross your legs and then take it the other side, so the right leg becomes the base and the left leg threads all the way up and over. You can crawl your toes a little away from each other. See if you can ground the knife edges of your feet down, flexing the toes. And maybe this side already feels a little different for me. It definitely does. Maybe you stay up, or maybe you fold forward only as you're ready. Stay with each new piece of the experience of the unfolding. And take 2 last breaths right here. Make your way slowly, gently out of it. Undo the cross of your legs. Turn so your toes face the top of your mat, and just nice and easy, little to no activation, lie your way down to lie on your back. Draw both of your knees into your chest, and you can take any final movement that feels good, any little last thing you need to get out of your body. And then when you're ready, curl into a nice teeny tiny little ball. Inhale. Exhale and drop. Everything goes out wide. Everything melts into all of the new expansion, all of the new depth in your body and your mind. Let your whole body and mind become broader right here, so that at first it's like you're a puddle, and then the puddle melts so much it expands into a pool, and then maybe a lake or a river, until finally you in this moment can feel as vast and expansive and broad as the whole ocean. And let your breath be soft. And let yourself just float away. Dissolve back into the earth. Out of all of this new depth that you've found, begin to bring breath back into your body. Fill up with all the new layers, textures, and qualities that you encountered during this practice. So the breath has a new richness to it that radiates out through your whole body to fingertips and toes to bring new movement back in. And on your next inhale, reach out long through fingertips and toes, bringing your arms back behind you to grow. And then exhale for one more drop into fetal pose. Let your body melt into the earth. And slowly press your way back up to a nice and spacious seat. Let the broadness of your seat here reflect all of the depth you feel inside. Draw your palms to meet at your heart. And feel into all the vibrance, the vitality, and the richness that lives inside of you in all of these different layers and colors and experiences. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, bow your brain in towards your chest. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. I hope you feel like you were able to find more depth with the breath, with the body, with the mind, and maybe you discovered something new. There's always a new discovery to unearth, and that's what I love so much about this practice. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.